Welcome to Bipolar Talks. Take a breath and mindfully settle into this moment. If you're here, chances are you're looking for answers, clarity, or just someone to walk beside you through the maze of mental health. You're in the right place. Before we begin, please like, comment, subscribe, and share this episode with others who may benefit. Your engagement helps us grow and reach people who might be struggling in silence. Let's open this conversation together. Let's begin by asking a simple question, one that so many people think they already know the answer to. What is depression? It's not just sadness. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. Depression is a medical condition, a mood disorder that touches every part of life. How you think, how you feel, how you act. It changes your sleep, your appetite, your energy, and your ability to experience joy. When someone is depressed, even the smallest things can feel overwhelming. Getting out of bed, sending a text, brushing your teeth. Things that once felt effortless can suddenly seem impossible. The pain isn't always visible. Some people laugh through it, work through it, post selfies with smiles, but inside they're sinking, quietly, desperately. That's why this conversation is so important. In this episode, we'll walk together gently through what depression really is, the many ways it shows up, and the signs we should never ignore. If this speaks to you, please keep listening. The next part is coming up, and we'd love for you to stay with us. Let's talk about the difference between sadness and depression. Sadness is a natural emotion. It comes and goes, often linked to a specific event. You lose something, you grieve, you cry, you process, and eventually it lifts. But depression is heavier, longer lasting. It's like a fog that doesn't clear. It doesn't need a reason. Sometimes it shows up when everything looks fine on the outside. You could have the job, the partner, the house, and still feel absolutely numb inside. Clinically, depression is called major depressive disorder, or MDD. To be diagnosed, symptoms typically must last at least 2 weeks, and they must significantly interfere with daily functioning. But many people live with it for much longer, sometimes years, without knowing what's wrong. Depression isn't just emotional, it's deeply physical. It can cause fatigue that feels like you're dragging weights behind you, body aches, changes in sleep and appetite, brain fog that makes it hard to concentrate or make even small decisions. If you're experiencing any of this, we want you to know you're not broken, you're not weak. You're dealing with something that deserves care, compassion, and real treatment. And you're not alone. Stay with us. In the next part, we'll dive into the core signs of depression, including some that often go unnoticed. Keep listening mindfully. You matter. Now let's explore some of the key signs of depression. These are the symptoms that clinicians look for when diagnosing major depressive disorder. If you recognize any of these in yourself or someone you care about, know that noticing is the first step toward healing. 1. Persistent low mood. This isn't just a bad day. It's a lingering feeling of sadness, emptiness, or hopelessness day after day. 2. Loss of interest or pleasure. Things that once brought joy, hobbies, music, people, start to feel dull or meaningless. This is called anhedonia, and it's one of the hallmark symptoms. 3. Fatigue or low energy. Waking up tired, struggling to make it through the day. Even small tasks feel monumental. 4. Changes in appetite or weight. Some people eat more to numb the pain, while others lose their appetite entirely. Significant weight change is a common sign. 5. Sleep disturbances. This could mean sleeping too much, struggling with insomnia, or both. Sleep becomes irregular and non-restorative. 6. Feelings of worthlessness or excessive guilt. People with depression often feel like they're a burden, like they failed, or like they don't deserve to feel better. 7. Difficulty thinking, concentrating, or making decisions. Mental fog and indecision are very real and disabling. 8. Restlessness or slowed down behavior. Some move or speak more slowly. Others feel agitated, like they can't sit still. 9. Thoughts of death or suicide. These can be passive, I wish I didn't wake up, or active. Any thoughts like this deserve immediate attention and support. If these signs resonate, please stay with us. This isn't the end of the story. Help exists, and healing is possible. In the next part, we'll talk about less obvious signs, the ones people often miss or mislabel. Now, let's look at the less obvious signs of depression. These can be just as serious, but are often misunderstood or even praised by others. 1. Irritability and anger. Depression isn't always sadness. In many people, especially men or teens, it shows up as short tempers, outbursts, or chronic frustration. 2. Withdrawing from others. Canceling plans, avoiding texts, staying isolated. Not because you don't care, but because interaction feels draining or shame takes over. 3. Overworking. Some people throw themselves into their jobs or responsibilities as a distraction. They're seen as productive, but inside they may feel empty or overwhelmed. 4. Perfectionism and over-control. When the inner world feels chaotic, people often try to control their external environment. Obsessive cleaning, rigid routines, or anxiety about failure can be a mask for deeper emotional pain. 5. Physical complaints. Headaches, back pain, stomach issues. These are sometimes the only symptoms people report, especially in cultures or families where emotional expression is discouraged. 6. Numbing behaviors. This can include scrolling endlessly, binge watching, substance use, or even excessive sleep. Not out of laziness, but as an escape from mental pain. These signs are often dismissed or normalized, even by doctors or therapists unfamiliar with the full picture of depression. That's why awareness matters. We can't seek help for what we don't recognize. If any of these feel familiar, please don't brush them aside. Your body and mind are speaking to you. In the next part, we'll explore why depression happens, including the biological, psychological, and social roots. Stay with us gently. You're doing something brave. So far, we've talked about what depression looks and feels like. But now let's ask, why does depression happen? What causes it? The answer isn't simple. Depression doesn't come from one source. It's shaped by biology, psychology, and environment. Let's break that down. 1. Biological factors. Depression is rooted in brain chemistry. Specifically, it's linked to imbalances in neurotransmitters like serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, which affect mood, energy, motivation, and sleep. But it's not just about brain chemicals. Depression is also connected to hormonal changes like after childbirth or during menopause, inflammation in the body, genetics. Depression often runs in families. This isn't about weakness or character. It's about biology. Just like diabetes or asthma, depression is a health condition that needs care, not judgment. 2. Psychological factors. People with certain thought patterns are more vulnerable. These might include negative self-talk, I'm not good enough, low self-esteem, perfectionism, people-pleasing, a tendency to ruminate or overthink painful events. Sometimes these patterns are learned early in life, especially if you grew up in a critical or unsafe environment. 3. Environmental and social factors. Life experiences matter. Trauma, loss, abuse, neglect, financial stress, discrimination, loneliness. These all raise the risk of depression. Sometimes it's not one big event, but a slow accumulation of stress and disconnection. Depression is not your fault. It's a response to pain, pressure, or imbalance, whether that's internal, external, or both. In the next part, we'll explore different types of depression and why not all depression looks the same. Not all depression is the same. It shows up in different ways with different patterns, timelines, and triggers. Understanding the type can help guide proper treatment and support. 1. Major depressive disorder, MDD. This is the most widely recognized form. It includes many of the core symptoms we've already discussed: persistent sadness, loss of interest, fatigue, appetite and sleep changes, guilt, and suicidal thoughts. These episodes can last weeks or even months. 2. Persistent depressive disorder, dysthymia. This is a longer-lasting form of depression, often milder day to day, but it can linger for 2 years or more. It may not completely disable a person, but it's chronic and deeply draining. People with dysthymia often describe feeling like they've always been this way, just low, flat, or never quite okay. 3. Bipolar depression. This occurs as part of bipolar disorder. Unlike unipolar depression, bipolar depression follows episodes of mania or hypomania. It's often more severe and includes symptoms like extreme fatigue, slowed thinking, or intense guilt. Understanding this difference is crucial because treating bipolar depression incorrectly, like with standard antidepressants alone, can actually make symptoms worse.
4. Seasonal affective disorder, SAD.
This type of depression is linked to seasons, usually worsening in winter when sunlight is scarce. It's more common in colder climates and may involve low energy, oversleeping, weight gain, and social withdrawal. 5. Postpartum depression. This affects people after childbirth, not to be confused with the baby blues. It's deeper, more enduring, and can include anxiety, detachment from the baby, or feelings of being a bad parent. 6. Atypical depression. Despite the name, this is actually quite common. Symptoms may include mood reactivity, briefly feeling better when good things happen, increased appetite, heavy limbs, and intense sensitivity to rejection. Each type has its own nuance and impact. That's why a proper diagnosis matters, because treatment isn't one size fits all. In the next part, we'll begin exploring how depression is diagnosed and what to expect if you or someone you love seeks help. So, what happens if you decide to seek help? How is depression diagnosed? First, let's be clear. There's no single blood test or brain scan that can confirm depression. Diagnosis is based on a combination of interviews, observation, and structured tools. Here's what the process usually looks like. 1. A clinical interview. A doctor, therapist, or psychiatrist will ask about your mood and emotions, sleep patterns, appetite and energy, thoughts including self-worth and suicidal ideation, behavior changes, stressors, trauma, or medical history. They may also ask how long the symptoms have lasted and how much they affect your daily life. Honesty matters, but so does safety. If it's hard to open up, that's okay. A good provider will go gently. 2. Screening questionnaires. You may be asked to fill out tools like the View9 Patient Health Questionnaire, Beck Depression Inventory. These are not tests you can fail. They're guides to help professionals understand what you're feeling and how intense it is. 3. Differential diagnosis. The provider will also rule out other conditions that might look like depression but have different roots. Thyroid problems, vitamin deficiencies, chronic illness, substance use, other mental health disorders like anxiety, bipolar, or PTSD. This step is important. For example, if your depression is part of bipolar disorder, treating it like unipolar depression might trigger mania. That's why a thorough, thoughtful evaluation matters. 4. Diagnosis and next steps. If the symptoms meet the criteria for major depressive disorder or another form of depression, the clinician may offer a formal diagnosis and begin discussing treatment options. Getting a diagnosis isn't a label, it's a path forward. Gives you language. It opens doors to support, tools, and healing. In the next part, we'll talk about those treatment options, from therapy and medication to lifestyle changes and support systems. So now let's talk about what happens after a diagnosis. Let's explore the many treatment options for depression, because here's the truth. Depression is treatable. There is no one-size-fits-all solution, but there are many paths toward feeling better. 1. Psychotherapy, talk therapy. Therapy is one of the most effective treatments for depression. It helps you unpack thoughts, patterns, and pain in a safe, non-judgmental space. Common therapy types include cognitive behavioral therapy. CBT helps you identify and challenge negative thought patterns and replace them with more balanced thinking. Interpersonal therapy, IPT, focuses on relationships, grief, role changes, and communication skills. Psychodynamic therapy explores unconscious patterns and how past experiences shape current emotions. Trauma-informed therapy, for those with a history of abuse or PTSD contributing to depression. The key is finding the right therapist Someone you trust who listens and who adapts the process to your needs. 2. Medication. For moderate to severe depression, antidepressants can be life-changing. These include SSRIs like fluoxetine or sertraline, SNRIs like venlafaxine or duloxetine, tricyclic antidepressants, atypical antidepressants. Medication doesn't mean you're weak. It means your brain may need chemical support, just like insulin supports a diabetic pancreas. Important note: medication works best when paired with therapy, and it may take time, sometimes weeks, to feel full effects. 3. Lifestyle interventions. While not cures, healthy habits support recovery. These include regular movement, even gentle walks, consistent sleep routines, nourishing foods, reducing alcohol and substance use, time in nature or sunlight, creative expression, writing, art, music. These changes aren't always easy during depression. That's why small steps matter. One moment of self-care is a victory. We've talked about therapy, medication, and lifestyle changes. Now let's explore something just as vital: connection, support, community. Depression is not just a chemical imbalance, it's also a deeply human experience. And humans are wired for connection. Isolation, shame, and silence only deepen the pain. But connection? That's how the healing begins. Let's look at ways support systems can make a difference. 1. Trusted relationships. Having just one person who sees you, who listens without judgment, can shift the experience of depression. That might be a close friend, partner or family member, supportive coworker, therapist, mentor. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be heard. 2. Support groups. Whether online or in person, depression support groups offer a safe space to share stories, validation from others who understand, ideas for coping strategies, the reminder that you're not alone. Many people find comfort in hearing, "Me too." You can search for groups through mental health clinics, nonprofits like NAMI, online platforms like Reddit or Facebook, with caution for moderation quality. 3. Crisis support. If depression ever becomes too much, and especially if suicidal thoughts arise, you deserve immediate support. Crisis lines exist for that reason. In many countries, help is available 24/7 via phone, text, or chat. This is not weakness, it's strength. It's choosing life, even when it hurts. 4. Faith, spirituality, or meaning. For some, spiritual practice is grounding. It might be prayer, meditation, ritual, or simply a belief that life holds meaning beyond suffering. This doesn't replace therapy, but for many, it enhances resilience. Now let's explore how depression can look different at different ages. Because depression doesn't wear the same mask for everyone. It changes shape depending on a person's stage in life, cultural background, environment, and even biology. 1. Children and adolescents. Yes, kids can experience depression too, but it might not show up as sadness. Watch for signs like irritability or constant anger, withdrawal from friends or activities, drop in school performance, physical complaints like stomach aches or headaches, self-harming behaviors or talk of running away. Teens especially may act out, isolate, or struggle with identity and self-worth. It's often misunderstood as just hormones, but it's crucial to listen closely and take them seriously. 2. Young adults. This age group faces unique pressures: academic and career stress, identity confusion, social comparison on social media, economic instability, relationship ups and downs. Many young adults minimize their suffering or try to push through it, especially in cultures that prize hustle and success. But burnout can mask depression, and pretending you're fine doesn't make it go away. 3. Adults in midlife. Depression in adulthood might stem from parenting stress, career dissatisfaction, relationship problems, loss of dreams or identity, unprocessed trauma resurfacing. This stage often comes with silence. Many feel trapped, like they should be fine by now. But depression doesn't follow life's checklists. 4. Older adults. Depression in seniors is underdiagnosed and often mistaken for just aging, cognitive decline, grief, or loneliness, but it's real and treatable. Signs may include fatigue, slower speech or thinking, loss of interest in hobbies, memory issues, withdrawal from loved ones. It's vital to remember that depression is not a normal part of aging. Each life stage brings its own challenges, and depression can touch any of them. Now let's talk about something that affects how and whether people seek help for depression: culture, stigma, and silence. Around the world, different cultures have different ways of understanding emotional pain, and that deeply shapes how depression is experienced, expressed, and treated. 1. Cultural perceptions of mental illness. In some communities, depression is understood as a medical condition. In others, it's seen as a spiritual imbalance,
a moral failing,
a weakness in character, a punishment or curse. These beliefs can make people hide their suffering, even from themselves. For example, in some Asian cultures, emotional distress may be expressed through physical symptoms, like fatigue, headaches, or digestive issues, rather than sadness. In some Latinx communities, there may be strong emphasis on endurance and pushing through hardship in silence. In African cultures, mental illness might be more closely associated with spiritual explanations or communal suffering, rather than an individual disorder. None of these perspectives are wrong, but they shape how help is given or refused. 2. Stigma in families and society. Even in more open societies, stigma persists. Many still believe depression is just being lazy. It's all in your head. If you're strong enough, you'll get over it. Going to therapy is for crazy people. These ideas are harmful. They keep people silent and suffering. But talking about mental health openly, mindfully, and with compassion is how we start to change that. 3. Intersectionality and mental health. Depression doesn't exist in a vacuum. It intersects with race, gender, class, disability, sexuality, and more. For example, LGBTQ+ individuals face higher rates of depression due to discrimination and rejection. Refugees or immigrants may carry trauma and barriers to access. People with disabilities may feel overlooked, both physically and emotionally. Those in poverty may have less access to treatment and more stressors triggering depression. In this part, let's explore something many of us will face at some point. What do you do when someone you love is depressed? It's hard to watch someone you care about fall into the shadows. You want to help, but you may not know how. Here are a few mindful and compassionate ways to offer support. 1. Don't try to fix it. Depression isn't something you can talk someone out of. It's not a puzzle with easy solutions like just think positive or get some fresh air. Instead of trying to solve it, try to sit with them in it. Offer words like, "I'm here for you. You don't have to go through this alone. I may not understand everything, but I care." Your calm presence can be more powerful than advice. 2. Listen without judgment. Let them talk. Let there be silence. Let them cry. Let them not know what to say. Avoid these well-meaning but hurtful responses. You have so much to be grateful for. Other people have it worse. You just need to snap out of it. Instead, reflect back their truth. You're going through something really hard, and I can see that. 3. Encourage professional help gently. You can suggest they speak with a therapist or doctor, but avoid pushing too hard. Instead say, "Have you thought about talking to someone? Would it help if I went with you? I can help you look for a therapist if you want." Sometimes just offering to walk beside them is what makes help feel possible. 4. Take care of yourself too. Supporting someone with depression can be emotionally draining. Set boundaries when needed. Find your own sources of support. You don't have to carry everything alone either. Let's gently reflect on where we've been. Depression is real, and it's treatable. It is not just sadness. It is not a weakness. It is not something you can simply shake off. It can be biological, psychological, and situational. It can look like exhaustion, numbness, irritation, or even perfectionism. Depression can show up in children, in elders, in successful people, in those with nothing left, in silence, and in pain that has no name. As we close this series, take a moment to breathe. Let that breath be a reminder. You are still here. You are still worthy. You are not defined by your darkest moment. Healing is not linear, but it is possible, and there is a path forward. This is Bipolar Talks. Thank you for walking this journey with us mindfully. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share if this content touched your heart or opened your mind. And finally, a gentle but important reminder. This YouTube video is for informational purposes only. Please consult with a licensed mental health professional or medical expert for any diagnosis, treatment, or support related to depression or mental illness. Until next time, stay well and take care.